Prime Minister Narendra Modi met his visiting British counterpart Keir Starmer in Mumbai. The two leaders held talks aimed at strengthening the India-UK comprehensive strategic partnership under the Vision 2035 roadmap. Their discussions are expected to cover cooperation in trade, investment, technology, defense, climate and education. So it is really a very wide remit. They will also participate in the CEO Forum and Global FinTech Fest of 2025 in a bid to try and deepen this relationship, give it breadth at a time when Europe is beginning to look across and exercise its own diplomatic choices beyond the traditional Western Hemisphere. Why, viewers? Because of uncertainty, global headwinds, trade tariffs, all sorts of other complications which are now leading for European countries to expand their engagement basket. And India, of course, features prominently. No one today who aspires to global leadership can ignore India, that will soon become the third largest economy. In fact, Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, yesterday said that for Britain to become prosperous and create jobs, it needs to make and build in India. So you can imagine, viewers, the thrust of that conversation. It is really to bring an activation to that important CETA agreement that was signed between the two, and that was sort of in some ways or the other gestated for the 3 years. Let me just go straight across to Akansha Swaroop and Siddhant Mishra live from inside the Raj Bhavan in Mumbai. Akansha, I'll just come out to you, but I want to quickly go across to Siddhant for a quick update from the ground. Siddhant, what's happening? What can you tell us? What's happening on the ground? Where have these conversations proceeded? How much time have these leaders been locked together? I think, Siddhant, you might be on mute. Could you just unmute yourself, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's right.
So, Rahul,
yeah. Good morning.
Rahul, first restrictive level talks happened between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Starmer, followed by delegation level talks. This must be the fourth time that two leaders are meeting in last 1 year. And now there is also this personal rapport which has been developed between the two leaders, Rahul, because in last 2 years, two major milestones have been achieved in this particular relationship. One is technology securities agreement and the other is the free trade agreement. Now, both leaders want, Rahul, for the startups, for the business houses in both India and Britain to encash this momentum. And this is perhaps the reason that Prime Minister Starmer is traveling to India with 125 top executives of the British companies. In fact, there's also going to be a CEO's roundtable, which will be chaired by Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Starmer later today at Geo World Center. So the focus is to create more jobs, more opportunities, both here in India and in Britain. And perhaps as Prime Minister Starmer is also going through troubling times in his domestic politics. So this particular visit will definitely give boost to his political stocks back home.
Okay, Akanksha, let me very quickly weave you into this conversation. Look, there were many other parts of the India-UK Migration and Mobility Partnership Agreement that have been patchily sort of enforced. And that's important because if you really want to deepen this exchange between these two countries at an economic level, you would want easier access to each other's markets. Clearly, you'd want more liberal visa policies, procedures for diplomats, officials, transit passengers, businessmen, etc., etc. So that's been sort of kept off the table from what Premier Starmer said yesterday, isn't it?
Absolutely, and Rahul, that is also a very politically strategic move by the UK Prime Minister, because he made a conscious effort to reach out to the British press before his departure for Mumbai, and he made it amply clear that as far as expanding visas for Indian skilled labour is concerned, that's off the table. Why is he doing that? Because his government is currently under tremendous pressure from the far right, whether it is, say, UK Reform Party leader Nigel Farage, or even, say, the likes of Tommy Robinson, who've just freshly launched their party, and they are soaring in popularity. From our own personal interactions with these leaders, we can tell you so. The polls are an indication that themselves that Keir Starmer's popularity has been sinking, particularly when it comes to the issue of immigration and visas. The Labour Party is being accused of being very soft when it comes to the issue of immigration. They are also blaming the government for not doing much about the grooming gangs. So yes, he's kept the visa issue off the table as of now for skilled Indian workers, but they're also trying to make up for it by giving greater access to Indian exporters. Remember, when the US trade tariffs, which are the highest for India across the globe, 50% of them were slapped. The exporters in India were extremely crestfallen, many of them who are supplying Christmas goods to Western markets. And so the only option for India is to capitalize either on Britain or with EU. But EU, our trade talks are still on. There is no FTA, but under CETA and under the recently forged FTA, which for Britain, by the way, is the biggest trade deal post-Brexit. For India also, it's a huge shot in the arm. You're looking at all of those goods currently which are facing a stumbling block from the United States, whether it's marine products, textiles, leather, gems, jewelry, all of them which are going to bear the brunt as far as United States are concerned. They are going to be able to get entry in the British market. India is now looking, India and Britain both are looking towards at a ground estimate of 25 billion pounds worth of trade to go up. But that's what they're saying, that this is just a ground estimate. The ceiling could be anything beyond. How India and Britain now managed to turbocharge that FTA, how they managed to do that, because it's not just, you're not just looking at these trade of goods, you're also looking at critical minerals, you're looking at semiconductors, yes, all of which will be touched upon under the CETA. Okay. Not to forget the security cooperation. We've just had maritime exercises, Exercise Konkan, that's taken place in Arabian Sea, and symbolically enough, you had prime ministers of both the country pose in that backdrop today.
It's presumably only fitting, therefore, that both London and Mumbai, being financial hubs, Mumbai is being considered the venue for this particular interaction. Do stay on with us, Akanksha and Siddhant.